So something really interesting happened last week. Xiaomi announced their new sub-brand called Poco. Xiaomi was already a budget smartphone company, and now the company, which was a budget smartphone company, wants to launch a even more budget smartphone, which is the Poco F1. This phone has everything that you can expect from a flagship device, but there are a few hidden things that you may not be aware of. Also, the starting price of this phone is somewhere around 20,000 rupees, which makes it exceptionally unique in the price category. My name is Bharat Nagpal, you're watching iGyaan. Today we are checking out the ultra budget flagship, the Poco F1. In this review, we'll tell you if this phone is worth your money. Let's get started. So the Poco F1 is an interesting device. It has all the top-notch specs. So you're getting a Qualcomm Snapdragon 845. You will either get 6 or 8 GB of RAM and 64, 128 or 256 GB of storage depending on what variant of the Poco F1 you get. The one that we have here, it's got the armor finish on the back. This is an 8 GB plus 256 GB variant, which is basically the top of the spec, 29,999 rupee phone. There are a lot of things that are really interesting about the Poco F1. The price, of course, the 20,999 price tag makes it one of the most unique propositions in this whole market space. But more importantly, you can even save another 1,000 rupees if you are an HDFC Bank customer for the first few sales, getting you the device for as low as 19,999. Now, if you talk about the design, over at the front, you do get a 6.18-inch display. It does have a 2246 by 1080p resolution. It is an 18.7:9 aspect ratio, a very strange aspect ratio, and you also do get a notch on the top of the phone. So it almost gives you the appeal of an edge-to-edge display, but it's not really edge-to-edge. Despite the notch, you do have considerable amounts of bezel on all sides, and you do have a pretty thick bottom chin on the phone itself. And while the display does look nice and modern, the use of bezels continues to stay there, and I don't really expect the best quality display on this budget of price, but this is a pretty good display. It's got great viewing angles. It works really well indoors as well as outdoors. It's got good amounts of brightness as well, and there is Gorilla Glass protecting it, even though the company has not disclosed what version of Gorilla Glass it is. Rest of the device more or less is made out of polycarbonate. Now the inside does have a metal frame, but the back panel is completely made out of polycarbonate, and the armored plating that you see on the back is nothing but a DuPont paint finish that you can get. Basically for anything else, they have this finish that they have basically plastered on the polycarbonate back to make it look armored. In itself, it is just still a polycarbonate back, and it's not much better. The device also lacks any sort of IP rating, so if you're expecting this to be waterproof or dustproof or resistant, this device is not going to be it. Now, this device is also not the slimmest phone that you can get in the market. It's about 8.9 millimeters in terms of thickness. It also does have a USB Type-C port, which is a definite plus, and you also have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery that does support Quick Charge 3. Now, they've limited it to Quick Charge 3 so that the battery doesn't overheat and it lasts longer, and I don't think that's such a bad thing. Quick Charge 3 speeds are good enough, and a Quick Charge 3 charger is included inside the box. All of this also lets you retain the 3.5mm headphone jack, which now sits on the top of the device instead of in the usual bottom place. So the front has a 20 megapixel camera, whereas the rear has a 12 megapixel main and a 5 megapixel secondary camera. We'll talk about the camera quality in just a minute. On the back, you also do get a fingerprint sensor, which is in a nice place, but you might end up sort of tapping the camera sensor quite a lot and get some smudges on the camera glass. Because it is so close to the camera, the fingerprint sensor may not be the best way to unlock this device. Luckily, the phone does have face unlock and IR or infrared face recognition, which will allow you to unlock the device even in low light or even in completely dark environments, which again is a positive for this device. Now, Xiaomi has also designed a special skin, which they call MIUI for Poco. It's MIUI 9.6. It is now available for other MIUI devices as well. So if you're interested in getting the skin, which is not a lot different from other Xiaomi devices, it is available for your phone if you're interested. It also runs Android 8.1 out of the box, a promised upgrade to Android 9, which all is good. Performance-wise, the phone is extremely responsive. The touchscreen, the overall display, the user experience, multitasking, all of these things are smooth as butter. And you wouldn't expect anything less from a device that has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 chipset and about 8 gigs of RAM in it. And this is particularly my version of the device. Now, benchmarks also score a massive result, whether you're checking on apps like Antutu, which are not that extensive, or even apps like Geekbench. You get really good benchmark scores from these devices. Poco F1 managing to match the flagships in the market and somewhat even more scores than flagships that are presently available in the market. So from a performance perspective, this device is totally going to match up to your requirements for the price that it is available at. Now, if you're planning on playing games on this device, the speaker is loud enough, but you can muffle it really easily because it is a single speaker on the device on the bottom right, which is something that the company could have easily modified and popped in a speakerphone into the earpiece, much like the iPhone, the kind of design they're sort of copying for most of their devices now. But the device is really comfortable to hold if you're playing games, and you will get a good quality gaming experience, whether you're playing online games like PUBG or whether you're playing offline high graphic games. You will get a good overall experience from the device. Now, being a MIUI device, it also allows for several features and qualities that Xiaomi phones have. So you can have dual apps, you can also create shortcuts and tweak around the interface to your requirements quite a lot. So you can have really a lot of customization going on in the device, which can come in handy for your usage. A lot of people who use Xiaomi devices will thoroughly like the experience because it's not a lot different. In fact, you do get a few add-ons on this. As far as the camera goes, again, you get the Xiaomi camera application. So you get all your camera features, including the beauty mode, including the bokeh effect, and all the shooting options that you may have had on a Xiaomi flagship device is now available on the Poco F1. Camera quality is pretty impressive. It utilizes the 12 megapixel camera as the main and the 5 megapixel camera for depth shots, allowing you to get a really good overall result. The front-facing camera, also a really large megapixel, 20 megapixel camera, allows you to get really good quality images. Now, in the front camera, they use the IR, the front camera, and a little bit of software magic to give you this bokeh effect, and it works out pretty well on the device. Interestingly, video is now at 4K, but 30 frames per second, even though the device can technically, thanks to the specifications, support 4K at 60 FPS. This could be rolled out in a future update from the company. Now, phone call capability and battery life is also good on the device. You will get good network quality from the phone, whether you're using it indoors as well as outdoors. In general, network strength was slightly lower than what we've tested in other devices, but it could be a hit or miss, or it could be a network situation. But we found that it is pretty good, and you'll get good quality audio on your call in, and your audio going out with the noise cancellation microphone will give you a good overall result. Battery life is impressive. With the 4000 mAh battery, you will get anywhere from 5 to 6 hours of screen on time with intensive usage. Whether you're online or playing games, you will not be disappointed with the battery life. You also get Quick Charge 3, like I mentioned earlier, allowing you to get quick charges between sessions if that is something that you're looking for. Now, the Poco F1 is a really complete phone for a really good price. It's comparatively well built. It's no premium device because it's got these bezels, it's got a polycarbonate back, but it's a premium device from the specifications point of view. It's got all the specs that you would ask for from a device, and everything is loaded onto this phone. It even has a 3.5mm headphone jack. Now, the one thing that really concerns me about the Poco F1 is the price. Well, it's a great price. It starts at $20,999 and it gives you all the specifications that you need. But is there something wrong? At a price of $20,999, either the company is making no profit or the company is selling the device at a loss. And it is more likely that the company is selling the device at a loss, which means that this could purely be a publicity or a marketing stunt from the company, making a few of these devices, selling them at a lower price that they can afford to sell, and then create this market demand and prevent people from buying devices from other brands like OnePlus, Honor. Anyone who sells in this price bracket is basically going to struggle to get a device at this price bracket, where Xiaomi will want you to buy this phone, but will only sell few to the customers who can get them in the flash sales. Now, numbers by Xiaomi are never disclosed for flash sale units, so we don't know if they sold 100 or 1,000. But for now, the device is really good, and if you can get your hands on it, you will not be disappointed purely from a specs and performance aspect. Because it's a polycarbonate back, the device also does not heat up, or even if it does not emit any heat. There's also the liquid cooling tech that we saw with the Note 9 device that is in the phone to prevent it from overheating or prevent the heat from slowing down or throttling the CPU. How well that works is something that we'll have to test in depth, and we will probably do a follow-up video maybe in a couple of weeks. But for now, from a build perspective, the phone is fantastic. It may not have the best design. From a hardware perspective, the phone gets an 8 out of 10. From a camera perspective, the device gets a 7 out of 10. From a phone call and battery life capability, the phone also gets a 7 or 8 out of 10. So all in all, an 8 out of 10 device, only losing out in terms of design and build quality. Not the most premium materials, not the best looking design, but it is definitely a phone that you're probably wanting to get. But if you can get it, that's really the question. That's it for our review. If you have any further questions or queries, do drop them in the comment section below. We may do a follow-up video. We may compare it with a few other devices if that is something that you want. So leave your requests in the comment section below. If you didn't already, guys, don't forget to smash the like button on this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to Team iGyaan. This has been Bharat. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.